Hey everyone, I'm Fernanda. And yes, this is a Q&A video for reaching 20,000 subscribers. Let me be corny for a bit and just say how grateful I am to you guys. Really, words cannot express how happy and thankful I am to have made it this far. It just doesn't feel real. And so to celebrate, I thought it'd be fun to do a Q&A while I play some speed paints in the background of doodles I've done. Or you could always just let this video play as background sound while you draw, clean, eat, anything. But anyways, let's just get right into the questions. Alright, first question. What's your favorite part of designing characters? I'd say that my favorite part is definitely deciding what hairstyles and clothing they'll have, which is probably why I find myself having more fun designing girls more than I do guys. Girls' fashion and hairstyles are just more fun to me than guys, but to be fair, that also may just be because I'm not the best at drawing them. Who do you draw the most? I'm assuming this is talking about my OCs, and so I'd say that it's probably either between Melanie or Daphne. I just have such a fun and easy time drawing them. What would you say is your favorite genre in stories? Honestly, I like most genres. I'm not really picky about them, but if I'd have to choose one, it'd probably be fantasy or supernatural stuff. Although I'm also a huge sucker for romances. And 2, what are your favorite cookies in Cookie Run Kingdom? You low-key got me addicted, lol. Good, that's what I want. But I'd say that my favorites are Wind Archer, Eternal Sugar Cookie, and Fire Spirit. Your name is Fernanda, so I think you're not American. What's your nationality? So yes, my name is Fernanda, which I guess isn't common in America, but I am in fact American. I was born and raised here, but my ethnicity is Hispanic. Who's your favorite OC if you have one? Okay, this is kind of a hard one to answer because honestly, it changes a lot. When I first created my OCs, my favorite for the longest time was Nova, but recently it's been a tie between Damien and Daphne. What's somewhere you really want to go? I would love to visit my family in Mexico and El Salvador, but other than those two, it would have to be Japan. What's your other hobbies? Most of my hobbies revolve around art in some way, but if I had to choose hobbies outside of that, I'd say dancing and reading. I'm in a folkloric dance group here at my university, which I absolutely love, and as for reading, I love reading mainly comics and mangas. Next question is...
What's your favorite scary movie?
As much as I'm terrified of horror movies, I actually really enjoy watching them. And my favorite is the Chucky franchise. The second movie if we want to be more specific. I do also love Bride of Chucky though, it's just so iconic. When I was younger though, I was terrified of Chucky. My dad used to joke around with me and my sisters that one day he'd get us a Chucky doll and we'd always cry. Now however, I've learned to love these movies. The Conjuring is a close second though. I like the suspense those movies give without being too gory. I hate gore. Like Saw, I can't watch those. They give me the heebie-jeebies. Are you going to make a webcomic of your OCs? Yes, of course. I don't know if it'll be anytime soon since I'm still in school, but I'd definitely love to turn Out of the Norm into a webcomic one day. I'm taking my time with it though since I'm still trying to figure out the story and cause I need more practice with things like backgrounds and poses. How much of your OC story do you have planned out? This kind of ties in with the last question. I have the beginning of the story pretty set in stone and I have a good idea on how I want it to end. I just need the middle part of the story to figure out. I just like to have more of the story confirmed before I start working on a comic. What app do you use for drawing/animating? I use Procreate to draw and animate, but I use a light motion for tweening. If your characters were in One Piece, what roles would each of them play in this theoretical crew? Plus, what devil fruits they may or may not have. Ooh, this is a fun one. I feel like their theoretical crew wouldn't have a set captain, but that the closest person to fit that role would be Damien since he'd be the one to try and get them out of trouble. He'd be like the unofficial captain, but that most of the crew would consider to be their captain. Nadine would be the archaeologist, Hana would be the navigator, Jackson would be the sniper, Sam would be the cook, Nova would be the shipwright, Melanie would be the doctor, and Daphne would be the lookout. And as for devil fruits, I feel like it'd just be what their powers are now. For example, Melanie would probably have like the hair fruit, Nova would have the copy fruit, stuff like that. Who's your favorite My Hero Academia character? Mine is Sero and Aizawa. Ooh, those are good choices. Mine is Todoroki. What are some tips you have for beginner artists that helped you along your journey? Oh gosh, I don't know if I'm the best at giving advice, but I say don't get discouraged when a drawing doesn't look the way you want it on the first try. Art takes a lot of time to grow and be proud of. No one is going to master their art style on the first try. And so just keep giving it your all, experiment with your art, and don't be afraid to try new things. When I was younger, I used to think that the only art style I should have was a more realistic one. And don't get me wrong, realistic styles are absolutely beautiful and there's nothing wrong with them. However, I always liked the way cartoony art looked more and that was just the way I wanted to draw. It took a while to realize that all art styles are beautiful and that there's no bad art style. Just keep giving it your all and don't get discouraged if your art doesn't look the way you want to at first. I know it can be hard, but you got this. How long have you had your current OCs? All of my OCs were created at different times except for Nova and Melanie, but they were the first ones I created in the same year as Nadine, Jackson, and Damon, which was 2023. So that's 2 years, almost 3. Daphne was created earlier this year, and my recent ones, Sam and Hannah, were created a few months ago. Question 1. What's your favorite color? Is there a reason why, or is it just pretty? I actually have 2 favorite colors, which is purple and green. And I just like them because they're pretty, there's not much reason for it. Question 2. Who were you at school? The weird kid, popular kid, jock, nerd, etc. I'd say I was mostly known as the art kid. Anytime we had an assignment that involved drawing, everyone would turn to me. I was flattered, of course, but also hated it because it just put a lot of pressure on me. Although I was also known as one of the twins. Since my sister and I were one of 3 sets of twins in our school, most people would just refer me to as one of the twins. Question 3. How are you doing? I'm doing great, thank you. If you got the chance to turn any of your OCs into a marketable plushie, who would it be? This is a hard one. I don't want to turn all of them into plushies. But if I had to choose one, I'd choose Nova. Do you have any advice on how to finish animatics, animations, or art videos in general? Because I always struggle to finish them due to lack of motivation, and every time I attempt to work on them, I just get distracted or exit out the app. That's honestly so real, so don't feel bad about that. The hardest part is always starting on a project, but something that keeps me motivated is seeing the finished result come together. It's also important to not force yourself to finish though. Whenever I start losing motivation, I have to step back and just take a break from drawing. If I force myself to finish, 99% of the time, I won't get anything done. Something you could also try is starting with something small. Maybe keep the colors simple, or if you're doing an animatic, don't do a super long one that requires a lot. You could then over time start doing longer and more complicated ones. Hopefully this makes sense. These are just some things that personally helped me out, which I hope can help you too. What's your biggest inspiration / who taught you how to draw so well? Aw, thank you. But oh gosh, I get inspired so easily, so I have quite a bit of them. Some of my recent ones, however, are Horikoshi's art, who is the creator of My Hero Academia, Brujo Ari, Fajitas, and Kelsey Animated. As for the second part, who taught me, I'm self-taught. I just kind of tried stuff out and eventually got to where I am now. How did you create your characters / how do you keep up with their lore? I just came up with them randomly. I was just doodling random characters and became attached to their designs. It actually took me a few months before I started actually thinking of a story for them. And as for how I keep up with their lore, I use an app called Story Plotter that my friend introduced to me that's a huge help. This isn't sponsored or anything, by the way. I can create folders of my OCs and write down facts and story plots I want for them. I'm someone who tends to forget things pretty easily, so this app helps me keep track of them. Why are you the most underrated best artist I've ever met? Aw, thank you! What will be their spirit animals? These might change, but right now I'd say Daphne's is a fox, Nadine's is a deer, Nova and Melanie's are cats, Jackson's is a dog, Damien's is a wolf, Hannah's is a sheep, and Sam's is a bear. What's your favorite food? My favorite food is 100,000% pozole. I can never get sick of it. What's something that comforts them? Nadine finds comfort in books, while Damien finds it in playing the guitar. Jackson in video games, Hannah's is drawing, Daphne's is writing, Sam's is cooking, Nova's is listening to music, and Melanie's is making crafts. When did you start art and what inspired you? I've been drawing almost my whole life. The earliest memory I have of me drawing is around elementary school, and I've just been doing it ever since. And as for what inspired me, there was nothing in particular I can think about. Like I said, I started drawing very young, so I just kept doing it. But once I got older, a big inspiration to continue learning was because I really wanted to be an artist when I grew up. What inspired you for creating your OCs for Out of the Norm? I've always had OCs throughout my life, but never ones I stuck with. I loved reading webtoon, and so I really wanted to create characters that had a story. So while doodling randomly one day, I created Nova and Melanie. At first I didn't think they'd be OCs I'd stick with since I have a pretty bad track record when it comes to keeping OCs, but these guys just stuck with me. And so over time I started coming up with lore for them in hopes to one day create a comic of them. Do you want to cosplay any of your OCs? Yeah, I think that'd be a lot of fun. What would each of your OCs post if they had their own YouTube channels? Ooh, okay. Daphne would definitely be a beauty channel. Jackson would be one of those vlog channels that go to haunted houses, do extreme parkour, and all that sorts of stuff. Nadine would either post book review videos or do cringy AMVs. Nova would be a gamer, Melanie would be a DIY channel, Hannah would post ASMR, Damien would be a faceless YouTuber who posts music, and Sam would either post cooking related videos or fitness videos. Are you a big yapper IRL? Kind of. It just depends who I'm around. If I'm with my friends, then yes, I'm a huge yapper. But if I'm with people I don't know too well or that I'm not close with, then I'll be pretty quiet and awkward. Which artist inspired you most as a kid? Ooh, as a kid? Oh gosh, I can't remember. Let's see. The earliest inspiration that comes to mind was Edo-chan, who is the creator of Five Nights at Freddy's High School. I was 11 when I first discovered her and became absolutely obsessed with her art. How did you go about learning anatomy? People keep saying learn all the muscles and blah blah blah. Like, I just want to draw my OCs, man, not learn every muscle. That's so real. I feel you on that. But when it comes to anatomy, I'm actually still learning myself. I've also seen artists saying that to learn anatomy, you should know the muscles, but I'm gonna be honest with you, I barely know any of them. I'm just like you, I just want to draw my OCs. The way I try learning anatomy though, is by replicating poses I see on Pinterest. I don't know if that's the way you should be doing it, but so far that's what's helped me. Also, I'm not trying to say that learning muscles is not important, cause it definitely is. I mean, there's a reason why most anatomy tutorials say you should learn it. For me personally, however, I just try replicating what I see. Do you have any pet/favorite animal? Yes, I have 2 dogs named Luna and Dante. And as for favorite animal, I'd say either between a frog or a bear. Realistically, I wouldn't want to see either of them in real life, but I do love them as plushies or any marketable item. What made you start YouTube? I guess I just always wanted to be one ever since I learned that it was a possibility. I would always see videos of YouTubers going to VidCon and having crazy adventures, and so I really wanted that. I was like 12 though, so my parents didn't let me post anything, thank goodness. But as I grew older, I started taking art more seriously and watching animatic videos, which I wanted to do too. I was really into Toilet Bound Hanako-kun at the time, and so I did a video drawing the characters as vines. I ended up taking a break for about 2 years though, and came back with my OCs, which is when I started being consistent. I just wanted to share art and post ideas with the world, so that's what made me want to continue to post. How many animated shows have you genuinely liked? What shows did you like the most? I've had a lot of animated shows I like. Some of my favorites are One Piece, The Disastrous Life of Saiki K, Dandadan, My Hero Academia, Demon Slayer, and JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. What/who inspired you or encouraged you to draw and post it online? Okay, so nobody really encouraged me to post, since when I first started posting on YouTube, nobody knew about my channel except for my sister. Like I mentioned in my last question, my parents didn't want me posting online since the internet can be a scary place. So at that time, my sister was my biggest supporter. My parents are totally cool with it now, by the way, and always encouraged me to continue posting. I was just really young at that time, so I totally understand them. Which of your OCs most relate to you? I'd say Nadine. She just wants to be cringe, and so I relate to that the most. What are your OC's opinions on Dandadan and Penny and Stalking with Garter Belt? All of them would be pretty big fans of Dandadan except for maybe Daphne. And as for Penny and Stalking with Garter Belt, I think most of them wouldn't like it except for Nadine, Jackson, Melanie, and Nova. Do your OCs pay rent in your mind? No, these freaking moochers live in my head rent-free without a care in the world while I suffer the consequences of having them take over my mind. Can I draw fan art of one of your OCs? Yes, of course, I will eat it up anytime. Please feel free to draw my OCs, I will love it. Alright, now for the last question. How does it feel like to have an amazing, talented, beautiful, artistic, and brilliant sister? What the? Excuse me? I should be asking you that. I'm kidding. It feels amazing. And that's all the questions for this video. Sorry I didn't get to all of them, but I tried answering the ones that were most commonly asked. Thank you guys again for 20,000 subscribers. It honestly feels so surreal, and I'm just so grateful to you guys, really. If you made it to the end, thank you so much for watching, and as always, I hope you have a great day.